Today's video is a speed paint and animation of a cute little demon frog. I tried to keep my palette in view the whole time so you can get a better sense of the process and colors that I use. I'm using Winsor & Newton watercolor paints and Princeton brushes, a mix of the Neptune line and the Velvet Touch line. For the start of this painting, I switched back and forth between two colors. A warm red made up of alizarin crimson and cadmium orange, which you can see on the bottom right, and olive green from my paint set in the top left. These are complementary colors, so theoretically this works to add depth to the shadows, but this specific color combination can go wrong very easily by looking like either mud or Christmas. My best tip for using complementary colors with watercolor is to let each paint layer dry completely before switching colors. I don't show this in the video, obviously, because it would be very boring to literally watch paint dry, but I either take a break in between layers to let it air dry, or if I'm in a hurry, I use a blow dryer to speed things up. I also try not to add too many layers or overwork things because that can lead to muddiness as well. Watercolors can be reactivated to an extent on the paper, and if you overwork it, you can accidentally ruin the previous layers underneath. For his underside, I incorporated a lot more yellow-orange and less green. I imagined the light source to be coming from the right side, so this area is the lightest. The frog is pretty spherical in shape, so this made figuring out the shadows pretty easy. I focused most of the darkness and saturation here at the transition from light to dark. I wanted to emphasize points of saturation on his toes, butt, eyes, and horns with a brighter red. At this point, I built up the rest of the color using just the red paint mix. The green color was nice to add depth in the early stages, but I found I didn't need it much beyond that. To build up shadows, I used a mix of burnt umber, Payne's gray, and crimson. I switched back to red to add textural detail along the frog's back. For outlining, I used the brownish mix from earlier and switched to a finer detailing brush to add some outlines, wrinkles, and texture details. I refined the texture a little bit more and added in some Payne's gray to finish out the watercolor portion. For highlights, I reactivated some white gouache that's been sitting on my palette for the longest time. I scanned the painting into Photoshop and cut it into 3 layers. The base without the tongue, then just the tongue, then a top layer of the frog's mouth minus the bottom lip. I brought these layers into After Effects. I animated the position of the tongue so it moved in and out of the mouth. I used the puppet pin tool and put a total of 3 pins along the tongue. I animated the 2 at the end with a wiggle expression, which, as the name implies, makes the points wiggle and makes it look like the tongue is moving. Again, using After Effects, I put it into an empty frame along with a few other animated pieces. Going back to the physical painting, I cut it into a circle so it would fit the frame I had for it. And now, with the previous animation steps, I can pretend that it magically comes to life after being framed. This painting was a lot of fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process behind it. For more painting and animation videos like this one, along with progress images and sketchbook pages, be sure to check out my Patreon linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.